What's up? Welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about how my running journey really started. And so I didn't really come from a cross country or a track background. I came mostly from an organized sports background growing up as a kid, starting from first and second grade, getting into baseball, basketball, and a few years of some football, seventh and eighth grade. And obviously with all three of those sports, there is the element of running. And so I wasn't in track or cross country growing up. I didn't really enjoy running, to be honest. And I always thought of running as more of a punishment. So, like the ladders in basketball, I hated those. I hated running. I didn't want anything to do with it. I just literally wanted to run away from the idea of running at all. And so I guess with that, I got involved and took some of my experience in organized sports, brought that over into college, got involved a lot with baseball, softball, basketball, and flag football, and ice hockey, believe it or not. And so, with everything, all good things come to an end. And so college ended, intramurals ended, and, I didn't have a whole lot to do. And I know there are adult leagues to get involved with, co-ed type sports, but that's something I just didn't really want to do. I guess just like the introvert part of me, just throwing myself into a league without, any other friends. I would do most of these leagues in college with friends, and so just I guess the thought of that, kind of really scared me, which is kind of maybe why I avoided it. But yeah, I guess my running journey started really in November of 2016, maybe a couple months before that, where I was sitting with a friend after work. We were out for a drink, really just talking about like our work week, our day, what we do outside of work. And he had mentioned that he was running a few miles every other day, maybe. And so, 1 to 2, 3 miles every other day. And I thought, that's pretty impressive. And again, at this time, I wasn't in any leagues. I wasn't really doing any sort of physical activity coming out of college. And so I thought that was pretty impressive. And, I think the idea of running a marathon in college, that was kind of always on my radar and on my bucket list. And I knew that's something that I always wanted to do. And so I guess, the advice that I got from my friend at the time was, you can start small, work your way into it. You don't have to go all in all at once. Just slowly build up. And then, that's really what it's all about, is the consistency. And so I took that advice literally and figuratively, ran with it. I went out maybe a day or two after that, ran my first mile, maybe went out a little bit too fast. But I didn't regret it. I had walked away from that experience of my first run, my first mile maybe in a few years, thinking that, I can do this. This is something that I can get good at. This is something that I can challenge myself and will, give me something to do, give me something to, I guess, work towards outside of like the typical 9 to 5 that I was in. And so I had signed up for my first organized 5K in November of 2016. And so kind of trained for that for a bit, for maybe 6 weeks. And, I signed up for it, ran maybe a 9-minute, 11-second pace, average pace, finished the race. And, that was kind of an all-out effort for me at the time. And, I can definitely feel it in that last mile, like the lactate building. But again, that was an experience that, from that point on, kind of just like got hooked in a way. And it was super challenging, but also a super great feeling and super rewarding to, put that time in such a little amount of time towards this goal, towards this 5K, and to cross the finish line, feeling really good about it. I think I kind of took that momentum and ran with it. So I had put my name in the Chicago lottery for the Chicago Marathon of 2017 in October, and I got in. And with those results of getting in the lottery, I signed up for my first half marathon in April of 2017 in the spring. And so I had ran that with a friend, and that was one of the bigger challenges physically that I had ever done. And, I was pretty sore after and was moving pretty slow. And I thought, how in the world am I going to run this back to back? Right? And how am I going to put that together? And so I think just really dedicating myself to the process of training for a marathon and all the hype that builds up to that day, I absolutely fell in love with. So it required a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time management and allocation towards my weekday runs and then my long run, and trying to figure out what works best for me in terms of diet and how to fuel properly for those Saturday or Sunday long runs. I absolutely loved that. I fell in love with it pretty quickly. The summer of 2017 was leading up to this October 2017 Chicago Marathon, my first marathon ever. I loved the whole process. And I think that's what running, endurance sports, that's really what it is. These races, obviously we train for them. They're big goals for us, big or small. And, personally, for me, my takeaway is that it's really just all about the journey and the life-changing habits that come with it. And so, ever since then, ever since 2017, I have always been such a big believer in, fitness, health, wellness. And that's something that I don't take for granted. While I have the time, the energy, this body, it's really just a privilege to be out there, running and participating in these events and, being a part of this community that is just, bigger than myself. It's really something else. It's really something that I never got out of, the organized sports days, in baseball, basketball, football. There is that team aspect, obviously, that team component, that brotherhood that comes with the team. But there's something just about the global community in running and in triathlon that, I can't really get anywhere else. And I am just so glad that I got into running. It kind of ultimately led me to get into triathlon and then finishing, a couple 70.3s and ultimately an Ironman. It really has proven to myself that I am capable of doing really anything. And, I truly believe that. I truly believe to my core that we can do anything if we want to, period. It's that simple. And I think that, that's it's just running and marathons, and triathlon is just a massive metaphor for life. And, there's going to be ups and downs. There are going to be times when, things are good and things are really tough, but it's really just a matter of how are you going to handle it? How are you going to handle the really tough times, the times of adversity where you really have to push and dig. And so, yeah, I guess just kind of wrapping things up here, my running journey was a humble beginning. And so what I'm trying to say here is that, I hope that my story maybe inspires you out there or some other people out there who may be hesitant about getting into running or, have had a sports background and have been away from sports for, months, years, whatever it may be. You can do this. And I hope that my story kind of proves that, in that, you don't have to be this former track athlete to get into running. Running's for everyone. And there's such a low barrier to entry, I guess, in terms of running. All you need is really just a pair of shoes and clothes, and that's it. And, that's kind of what I love about it too, is that it's so inclusive of people of all different backgrounds and attracts people from all over the world to participate in these events around the globe. And so I guess with that being said, it's just been a humble beginning for me, and we're really just getting started. I've been running and training year round for about 7 years now, and there really at this point is no sign of me stopping. And I guess, I think the whole purpose of this channel is to inspire folks, provide valuable tips, training tips, entertainment, inspiration, motivation, whatever it is that you're looking for, I hope that I can provide. So that being said, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.